So one of the biggest combatants about that we see is that there's not a lack of talent in any community here in Jonesboro, Craig County. There's not a lack of talent. There is a lack of connectivity, right? So when you talk about a pipeline, about how do I get a student from point A to point B, meaning for the job interview, that's what we call the ecosystem. How do we work together? The platform or the audience is the student, right? The pipeline is any nonprofit organization, any business, higher education. All of us have to work together and connect what we do with each other and create pathways for students. We just need to highlight if our program gets them the juices flowing because we introduce concepts in the realm of entrepreneurship. But when you leave our program, we put you, what track do you want to, if you're college bound, then we want to illuminate the pathway to get you to college. Hey, my resume, what schools, have I checked on my financial aid, all of those things. And we work with ASU to help build that out. If you want to be in the job market and you can't have what I call delayed income, like when I graduate I need to get a job, that we want to connect you with, the biggest economic drivers in this area, which are ag, manufacturing, retail. We want to make sure that you've been connected with them as early as middle school and they're with you along the way. Form those relationships. So I know that my local employer, right, the High Trawl, is a good one. Swept Away is been a sponsor of ours. If they're thinking 10 years down the road, 5 years down the road, then we have their future employees in our pipeline that they can recognize, identify, and interact with while we're growing them. So yeah.
Yeah, I can see a big advantage of starting early like that, as early
Hmm.
as the seventh grade, like you said, because that's really where you start making decisions, right? You're starting to get ready for high school. You're starting to think about what kind of classes you want to take, things like that, and you have to start making those decisions. You're playing sports, maybe, or
Hmm.
in some kind of organizations within the school where you're starting to become a leader, starting to figure out who you are as a person, and so that's a great time to start. For you or for JBA,
Hmm.
what does success look like in that program? How would you measure the success of a student coming through the program?
Yeah, so in our current stage right now, we have a grit score. So there's a Dr. Angela Duckworth who has conducted a great deal of years of study and came up with the number one indicator of future success is one's grit score because it's minus a GPA and it's really minus the economic circumstances that that student may be in. So I could be for a rural county where not a lot of access to resources, but I still have that grit and I can still project to be successful in my further down the line. So grit is passion and perseverance over time. So we measure that. And it's a 1 to 5 scale, and we do that pre and post, and we get the grit score, and we quantify that. Then success for us is if there is growth in whatever band, 1 to 2 is the lowest, 3 to 4 is the most common, 4 to 5 is the highest. If there's growth within a band between zero point 0.5 and 1, right? But as long as there's like a 0.5% moving forward, we consider that to be success. Then the next stage that we have after that is we look at the student's level of readiness. How well do they understand, like you had mentioned before, I want to go to college or I want to play professional sports. What do they have knowledge going into high school of what pathway that they need to take, or do they know their level of readiness? And then we ask them and they ascertain the track, whether they're college bound, job bound, or career bound, which could be a whole bunch of different things or combination thereof. The last thing that we're working on, we haven't quite gotten there yet, but we're working on a post evaluation. Once a student has been placed either college or in the job market, we have a 12-month tracking and evaluation of them. Did they stick? Do they have growth potential? our data shows right here, because we've been doing this for about 2 years, that you can create and grow and instill a growth mindset into a student. I can convince a student that failure is not a permanent condition. So success is measured in those terms.